Welcome to a little quick episode of Vasling with Stu. This episode is brought about by David Cheever's post and request for different setups for scenario S19, Purple Heart Lane, designed by Brian and Alice, that he could use to teach new players in his new squad leader group. I must first commend David on his achievement in getting a group started and the immense patience it takes for such an ordeal. Not necessarily ordeal, for such an undertaking, because if the players are not enthusiastic about wanting to learn the game, you're going to be wasting your time, to be honest. So I commend David on that, and I also commend him on wanting to get input from the community. It's such a good community, from the community, that he can better enhance the gameplay for his new players to take away some of their fears or indecisiveness about how to set things up. But even in this, I just want to go over, even in this scenario S19, we'll take a look at it right here. S19 is right here. Even this little simple scenario where you already have the Americans set up here in Z7 and the other one in CC7, there's 1,000 things to think about. So let's move these units over here, and I'm gonna kind of go over what Kevin and Peter said in their posts and their pictures, which I love the pictures, and I do agree with Kevin that if you turn the wheat fields to water, which is really cool, you just have to get the overlays, and there's single hex overlays for all the waters. Get that to waters. It really helps focus on the map. Otherwise, a lot of times people you lose track. If that's the beauty about Vassal, you could change the environment, change the image. If you could change the image, please do so. I would entrust that to everyone. I am specifically I'm a very visual person, so if I have a pretty picture, I'm happier. So it's a pretty picture. Now Kevin had depth charts on that. That's a little bit much. I'm not much of a fisherman, so I really don't need to have the depth of the pond to see exactly where the good fishing spots are. So be that as may, Kevin's probably a really good fisherman. Anyhow, again, American setups are stagnant. Before you teach your players what to do in their setup, you must emphatically go over what the scenario entails. Most likely, brand new players will think that it's like Risk, and it's just a matter of eliminating units. Eliminating units, eliminating units, eliminating units. This scenario in specific, to be honest with you, I think it's a little more, I do not think it's an entry-level scenario. So why do you say that, Stu? I think you're an idiot, because there aren't that many units on here. The reason why I think it's not an entry-level scenario is because the Germans have to think of a couple things, and their setup really depends on what they want to accomplish. If they want to brutally meet the American force head-on with 7 American 747s and a crap ton of leaders, they've got one leader for every like 1.75 units, which is ridiculous, and their leadership modifiers are extremely good, as you can see here on the right hand side. Then that is a distinct possibility, because they do have 8 morale. But the problem is you're gonna be spitting at 12 charts. You're gonna be staring at down 12 charts and 20 charts all game. Why? Because this is a very close-in situation. The Americans can just line up here and hopefully just, if some guys survive, they just have a giant fire group and they destroy people. But we'll just go into that later. We're not going to concern about that. We're concerned about the setup, which is what David wants. Again, with the setup, you have to take into consideration the victory conditions. America needs 6 buildings to win, pretty much on the map. So move these guys over here. They're swimming in the pond. They're actually camouflaged on the nice blue sea over there, blue pond. 6 buildings. You got 4 in the middle. This one is questionable, and we'll go over why that's questionable, why the Americans may take that one. And then you have, let's say he just takes these 3. So these 3, we can go these 3 buildings and these 3 buildings. Those are the only ones Americans need. 6 buildings, they win. Boom, game over. That's relatively close. They can possibly get there, but we've got things to talk about between now and then. Again, go over with the new students. Go over with the new players. What do the Americans want to do to win this game? How will they get there? And what do you think it will take the Americans to get there? And Stu, you're not making any sense. Yeah, probably not. But we're going to go over why. The Germans, oh, let me clear that. Go back to select. The Germans have essentially one squad, but 2 multi-man counters that are on the board at the beginning of the game. Keep in mind, 2 multi-man counters. They both, if they're, you can't combine them in SK, so I'm not going to worry about that, but there are 2 multi-man counters there. Full squads are also multi-man counters, so these are equivalent in terms of the victory conditions. 1 multi-man counter there, half squad. 1 full squad is another multi-man counter. They are both single multi-man counters that the victory conditions take into account. So the Americans need 6 buildings. We've covered that. But, and this is why I don't think it's an introductory scenario, because the management of your forces is a little bit next level. For each German multi-man counter which exits the map, increase the number of buildings needed by 1. So that can be a tough one to manage and know when to get off the board, just like scenario 1, fighting withdrawal. Do the Russians need to get off, and how soon do they need to get off? Or do they need to get off at all? If they're winning very, very handily, they probably don't need to move anybody off. If they're losing their butts, they might want to move 3 squads off to put the pressure on the Finns. Okay, same sort of situation here. When do you bail, if you bail? Let's say the Germans set up in the back because he says, screw it, I'm just going to bail. I'm going to send them up here. They're not going to be able to fire me. I'm bailing. Turn 1. Oh, actually, they can't bail until turn 4. So they just bail backwards. Run backwards. These guys come on. Jump on the board. Turn 4 comes. They all leave. How many buildings do the Americans need to win then? How many multi-man counters do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means the Americans would need 12 buildings in which to win the game. How many buildings are on the board? Well, there's 4 here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Pretty much, there's like a lot of extra buildings where the Americans can just simply walk and take. So if the Germans are just going to come back here, sit, and then run off the board, that's not going to work. So now you have to figure out a defense on what to do. That's what we're going to go through here. Now we're going to burn through. I've got a couple setups, and I'll talk about discuss the setups. First, you obviously, I'm going to go with the generic setup that Peter had. I think I like his setup fairly well. We're just going to cover this one here. 7-0. I'm going to put the 7-0 down here, and I'll give you a reason why in just a bit. So why put him in the open, Stu? You got a stone building up here. That guy's looking pretty. Why put him in the open? I honestly do not like this setup here. I would prefer to put him here only if you intend to drop these units back. If you want to drop these units back, I would start the unit in T3 instead of U3. And why is that? Simply because when the Americans move on, and they will move on, they will achieve some positions probably in the X5, X7 area right here. Let's say we get let's say by the advance phase, by the end of the American first turn, a squad, regardless of whether it's on the board or off the board that comes, ends up here for some reason. Okay? That's highly likely that's gonna happen. Very highly likely. What's this unit gonna do? He's stuck. He's shit out of luck. He can't swim. He's not going swimming. If you want to retreat this unit, you have to assault move here, which that's going to be a 6-1, assuming he doesn't put this cheapo 8-1 leader there. That's going to be a 6-1 chart. Say, Stu, I don't have a problem with that. I got 8 morale. I don't really care about that. Let's take a look at what a 6-1 chart entails. 6-1 right here. We're looking at an 8. An 8 on the dice roll. Okay, boom. 8. There's our 8 right there. Bam. Morale check. Now these guys take a morale check. So It's a free morale check. Most likely he'll get a 1 morale check, which is not the greatest thing. But if you started him here, okay, let's move this guy off the board. If you started him there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, he won't be able to cover the entry hex, which is not that great. But he will be able to cover with 1 morale. You can always fire at one of these other 2 hexes. The American will come on and enter one of these hexes here. Okay. And so instead of covering that very specific entry hex, which you might want to do, you know, there's a merit. There is a merit to this location here. That covers the entry hex. This one doesn't. This one covers one of the second hexes along the line, which the American will likely move along. Or he'll move here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then advance here with the leader. And then you're going to be stuck at that point. So there's a merit, but what it will allow him to do is it will allow him to cover this lane here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cover down to BB7. Right? The American knows he can cover that. Obviously, he can't move through here without any negative impact. And also, this unit down here can fire 8 hex range there at either one of these orchards. This orchard here is still going to be a -1 shot if they do a full move. They come off the board here, and they do a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a leader. You could shoot this hex with a 2 -1. Not a horrible chart. Not a horrible chart, to be honest with you. But take into consideration the starting setup here in the open. Kevin was concerned about this guy being out in the open, getting destroyed by fire, and so on and so forth. That's only possible if this unit actually makes it to this location here, which is possible. I mean, it's likely. He's the only one that's going to be able to make it that close. So the only thing he's going to do is, the only way he can make it that close, well, there's 2 things. If he goes up here, this guy can shoot him for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he'd have to advance. So technically he can't even do that maneuver. So he'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has to go straight to get to this position. This unit will then fire on him at Y7. Not the best of all worlds, but he can fire on Y7, and that will be a 2 -2 shot, and possibly get rate of fire. 2 -2, leaving 1 residual if he doesn't. Okay. 2 -2. What's that chart look like? It's important to know that's not the chart. It's important to find out what that chart looks like. 2 -2, right here. Pin task check is your friend in this game. Pin task check is the American friend. You don't necessarily need to break everybody. You just need to pin them. So an 8 will pin those units. Well, we'll give him a pin task check. A 7 will give him a normal morale check, and if he should happen to roll his equal to his morale, as the rules stipulate, they become pinned as well. So it's likely you're going to get somebody pinned in this location. So if you pin the squad, you're safe from any interdiction. Why? Because if these units come on and the stack pops up in Z7, let's say you get a crap load of dudes here, and hopefully you won't have his -2 leader there. It's possible he does, but if he does, it's like another movement phase away that he needs to be. So that'll be long range and advanced fire phase. It's halved again. So he'll be quartered. So that's going to be 1.123. That'll be a 4 chart -2. That's easily survivable by 8 morale units. And that's why you might want to swap and put your 8 morale down here. He probably won't be as vulnerable. That's a likely shot. Let's say they break. Okay. No interdiction. You may route to the nearest in MF, your location. No interdiction here is possible because he is out of normal range. He may only interdict to 4 hexes. 4 hex range. That is your friend, as the Germans in this one. So you can set up in the open and still run to cover with 0 interdiction. The only person that's going to make it and screw it for you is that guy getting there. Okay? Or there if he's lazy. I guess if he's there, he's going to be lazy, but he's not making any headway. I'd shove them up there and put the pressure on to get that interdiction. Even so, 7 morale interdiction's not horrible. It's worth it to get the cover. But even if you do get the cover, he's just going to fire on them next turn and DM him again, and then you can route back over here, and then it's going to be turn 3 or 4 by the time you rally him. So if he breaks, he won't be in the game until turn 3 or 4. Let's get rid of this garbage here. And let's go over a different setup. So that's that setup. Again, taking into consideration, where's the break? There it is. Taking into consideration what the American wants to do. We're not even talking about the Americans coming on. I am going to assume that the Americans can move everything on possible. That's kind of what I would do. Second setup. Of course, Peter had him in the building. I don't like the building. The first setup would be putting here, covering another spots on the road. The building will cover the entry point. Very important. It is extremely important to cover that entry point. That is a viable strategy of putting him to cover the entry point. Putting him here, putting a unit up here, this orchard negates his entire effectiveness. If this unit is up here in W6, he's just going to get swarmed by American units. When he drops smoke, attempts smoke, he drops it in his own hex, and then he can move. He drops a 1 MF here, 2, 3, 4, 1 bonus because he's on the road the whole time, people. And then we can advance, or we can advance here. And then we can move units off board. Our 8-1 can come off board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. And then we can have this guy come on. Let's say you leave your 9-2 off for whatever reason. And let's just say we throw him right there. Okay. First turn, American advance phase is going to look like this. Okay. You have 6 firepower with a shit rate of fire. You're going to get annihilated. This unit's dead. That's what the first turn is going to look like. That's unit's dead, and you're not going to get any minus shots off whatsoever. You're going to have a 6 chart, but a 6 chart, when you look at it, if you can look at it, let me get it over here. Oh, here it is. A 6 chart is the same thing as 2-2. Because when you roll a 7 on the 6 chart with no modifiers, it's the same thing as rolling a 7 on the 2 chart and subtracting 2. The only thing you're losing on the 6 chart is the possibility of snake eyes. But you'd have to roll the snake eyes straight up on the 6 chart. On the 2-2 chart, you could roll a 3 and get the same result as the 6 even. Do you see that? That is a distinction you need to see. Let's look up the highlighter. We have a 6 even. Hold on. Highlighter. There we go. 6 even. Okay. A 7 will get you a morale check. 2-2 will get you a morale check. A 3 on the 6 chart, point blank fire, will get you a K2. Not shabby. It will get you a K2. A 3 on the 2 chart will not get you 1 morale check. Will not get you a K2. It will get 1 KA. So a 3 on the 2 chart with a -2 is more effective than a 6 chart even. Slightly more effective, so when you roll that 3, it's going to reduce it to a 1. When you roll 3 here, it will not reduce it to a 1. Or a 2 for that matter, because they're going to be advancing at point blank range. So they're not going to move adjacent, they're going to advance adjacent. They're not going to take that shot. Because then it would be 6-1, and then you'd have a slightly better chance of attacking. That's why they will advance. 2-2, better chart than a 6 even in this specific situation. Simply because of what you're dealing with on turn 1. Okay, let's clear that as well. Okay, so that's why I do not like the frontal position. The reason why I don't like that is because I'm doing the same thing in S8. S8's a very similar. Matter of fact, you use the same board, but you have a wheat field over here. In that game, you have a 9-2 leader coming down through the wheat fields, and I've got the guy stacked up here. He firing out of the wheat field at this, let's say at 4 hex range. Let's say he's here at 4 hex range. This unit firing out of the wheat field with 2 squads can fire into this building, and that'll be a 12+2. Good chart. You firing from the building at him is going to be much less. He's going to destroy you. That's why I like the don't put your guy up in the front, he'll get annihilated shot. Now, that's the one setup there. I like this guy down here in the bottom. Now, the 8070 comes in distinction. Again, these are positions on this setup. These are positions held here. I like this slightly better than this one here. That way, these guys can come back and retreat. And what I want this unit, if this is my setup, this unit's going to move up here. He's not going to move into the town. Stay out of the town. You don't need to be in the town. He needs to set up ranged fire. This unit can do the same thing. He can go here. I would not move him here. I would move him probably down here. Okay. Why do you want to do that, Stu? Well, it does two things. Let me fix the board here just a minute. There we go. It does two things. One, he's in a building, one of the victory conditions. And two, he's right on the board edge. So anybody coming at him, first of all, he's got 8 range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's stopping any American running down the road to get to this building. Okay? First fire, subsequent first fire. You get residual, and you got 2 shots. 2 minus 2 people, better than 6 even. Okay? 2 minus 2, better than 6 even. And he's not going to cower because we have our leader. We have our daunted leader. And at this point, if that's your plan, I think I would have the 7-0 down here because it's unlikely that the Americans would want to do anything. Come down here. It's out of the way. They're trapped in a corner. They don't want to go there. If they're up here, they can come around and get these buildings. The Americans probably don't want to go down here, and they don't need to. But again, what do these positions mean for the Germans? Again, when you're setting back here, that's what you should be thinking about, where they're going. What are they going to do for me later? A unit back here is free to fire. Let me pop it. The same thing this guy's going to do. He's going to be firing this location on these open ground hexes. This unit here is going to be covering these roads, that open ground. Sure, there's going to be smoke dropped, but not all the hexes are going to be free. And he can also fire in this direction, covering this building here. He's protecting this building from this location. If American wants to take a 2 minus 2 shot to get over there to take it, again, we like the 2 minus 2. Then he takes another one when he comes back. Because he's not going to waste any fire. First of all, any fire from that direction, long range. Long range. 1, 2, 3, 4. Long range. It's a 2+3 chart. Forget it. American's not going to waste his time. He has 6 turns. This unit will never be attacked. Ever. Because your 548s are going to be on the board. This will cover and defend this building by being on the opposite side of the pond. Again, if you want to defend and drop back, that's where I would suggest putting those guys. Okay, they are simply flank holders for guys making end runs and stuff like that. Machine guns. Now, my next setup, that I covered kind of 2 setups right there. The next setup is actually a little quicker. I'll go a little quicker. The bottom guy will be the same. You can determine whether you want the 7-0 or the 8-0 leader. The second setup, I would suggest something like this or something like this. It's pretty much equivalent. It's kind of tough. This one's a little safer, just a little safer by a small margin. Okay, small margin. And why in hell would you put him there, Stu? Why? Because what are the Americans going to do? They're going to come on. You're covering the same hexes. And guess what? 8 hex range, right? Boom. 8 hex range. You're covering the exact same location. It's actually a better spot than our location here. Okay? It's a better spot because he's in range now. And again, Americans come on. Let's say they get to here. Let's say this guy gets pinned. We get lucky. He gets pinned. This guy comes on, moves here. We got a couple of, let's say when the big boy comes on, he makes it here. Let's say this guy makes it here. First turn. That's what happens. Let's say one guy, let's say nobody broke. That's the situation there, right? So what do we do with this case? Germans come on. We're going to defend. And the Americans could advance 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Advance. What this unit's purpose is going to be is the same purpose that he's going to have over in P1. Hopefully, now this is a slight stretch. This is where you start pulling stuff out of the left field. This is where you confuse your opponent. Like, Stu, what the hell is he doing up there? That's no man's land. Well, not really. Because move him here. We can low crawl here. Long range. 4 hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4. American says, I could take a pot shot of that, whatever. But guess what? If he breaks, he routes here. 8 morale. It's unlikely he will die. Extremely unlikely that he will die. If he breaks, we don't care. Because his priority is going to be mid to late game. If he stays alive, there's a decent position. Here's a much better position. Why is that a good position, Stu? One, it is I think this is probably the best, but yet kind of the riskiest way. This will help you win in late game. This will screw the Americans over like you don't ever contemplate. Okay, so why will that screw the American player over? Number one, and very important, route paths. The Americans are going to come, bully their way through the town, right? Let's say they ignore him. He's not even in the victory area. He's in the red. He's not even anywhere near the victory area. The Americans aren't going to send anybody to go get him. Let's say all the Americans are on here. Let's just pile them in here. All the Americans are here. We got our bad boy in the corner over here, right? We got our Germans setting up here. Let's say our Germans come on. They're just sitting in the village having bratwurst and some schnapps and whatever else they got going on in there. They're not going to send anybody up there. Why? They only have 6 squads. They're not going to send us one single squad up here who's going to get shot to hell. First of all, again, 2 minus 2. 2 minus 2 is our friend. He's not coming up here. He's going to ignore this unit. Why is that a bad thing, Stu? Why is that a bad thing that he ignores that unit? Who cares? He's not doing anything. Yeah, he is. Simply by being there. Let's say our Macho Camachos come up here and we stack. Let's say we get our massive fire group, right? And we get some Chinsias. Let's see, where is it? Let's see, we get a guy down here, right? Boom, here's our guy. Here's our buddy. Here's our buddy down here in the corner. Let's take a shot right here. Okay? What is that? What range is that, people? Oh, lo and behold, that's a range of 8. That's normal range. That's double range for the Americans, so they're not going to waste their firepower firing this guy. He's going to have free shots all day. That's a 2 even shot. Let's say we get one guy out of here that's broken. Let's say he breaks. Just the leader. Leader breaks, right? That's fine. You're broken. Everybody else is fine. Americans don't care. Where the hell's this guy going? Right? Where's he going? You tell me. Guess what happens to him? He dies. This unit dies. Why does he die? Route rules. Where's he going to route? Okay. I'm gonna get rid of everybody on the map except for that broken unit. We just move these guys over here. We're gonna leave the German here. We're gonna leave the German back there. Where is this unit going to route to? Nearest cover in MF. We've got 3 movement factors here. 3 movement factors here. Well, he actually might make it over here. Maybe, just maybe. Okay, just maybe. He has to route. If he's here, he can't go this way. He's obviously not going that way. If he's this way, he can. I think he can go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, he can. So he can route here, but let's see if he can route there. I'm not sure if he can route there. Guess what? What range is that? 7. What range is that? 8. He can't route to this destination. His only destination is U5. That is the only place that he could route to. Only because this guy is at the same range. Future turns. Stu, he could route there next turn. Nah, no, you can't. Because what you can do then is if you say, okay, first of all, he's probably going to take another pot shot from this guy. Be too even. I'd take that shot because most of these other guys are going to be not moving or shooting. You can move him here to stop him from routing forward because this is going to be reducing the range. He's going to be stuck in the open. That's just the leader. Okay? Let's say, for instance, the fighting gets hot and heavy in the town. Okay? Let's say this guy's dead or something like that. Okay? And these guys break. Let's say these guys break right here. Okay? This guy breaks. Let's zoom in on that. He breaks. Damn it, wrong one. Boom. He breaks. Rally phase comes. Where's he gonna route? You tell me. You tell me where this unit's gonna route. Unit's here, he's gotta move. He's adjacent to an enemy unit, he has to move. Can he route up here? Closest unit in MF is 2 MF. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can he route there? Let's check. This unit back here, he doesn't have to be in normal range. He just has to be closer to an enemy unit. That's 10. Let's say he routes to P. He can't route to Q6 because now that's getting closer to enemy unit. Illegal route. Here, 10, 10, 10, 10. The only place he can route is way up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And guess what? Possible interdiction, possible interdiction, possible interdiction, and sits right there. He may self-rally later, but that's going to stop him from going into this location. His units are going to have a hell of a time routing anywhere worth value. They're going to have a hell of a time. And guess what? Take a look at the board. Say this is late game, turn 5. Turn 5. What's this German unit going to do? Turn 5 comes around. Huh. American controls all these. Let's mark them. Where's that overlay? Let's mark this bad boy. Where is it? All these Vasling gurus knows exactly. They're laughing at me right now. You don't know where the hell you know what the hell you're looking for, Stu? No, probably not. I'm looking for control markers. Where are the control markers? I have no clue. I'm a noob. I'm a total noob. Control map annotations. Damn it. Oh, you know what? I think they are in the. Sorry to drag it down. Let's go Axis. Allied. Give me the Americans. Okay. We're just going to flip this over. Americans control this. Clone. Clone. They have better overlays. I don't know where they are right now. I don't want to waste your time. Americans control all that. Let's say they didn't get through 3 for whatever reason. Turn 5 comes along. Americans are getting pounded. This is assuming they have taken 0 casualties. 0 casualties. Unlikely with 7 morale, but let's assume they take 0 casualties. Mr. 8 minus 0 is going to come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably counter exhaust, to be honest with you. 6, 7. Advance 8. Okay. Boom, boom, gone. You're out of here. Delete. Get that crap out of there. Turn 6 comes along. This is gone. Okay. Now, the Germans have a viable exit strategy. Because the Americans will move last in turn 6. This is the turn 6 movement for the Germans. The Americans will have to destroy every unit in here and possibly get some excites. And if that's the case, let's say they take 7 buildings. They need 7 now. Now they need 8. Or they need, let's say one of these guys goes off. Let's see, he was right there or he was right here. They need 7. And guess what? Here's our LMG. Now they need 8. Now the Americans lose. So therefore, lots of thought have to go into your setup. This is a perfect plan. This is risk. The only risk this unit has is on turn 1. Even if he breaks, Even if he's right here and he breaks here by going to the building, he simply routes to the building and rallies. No one's going to go up here and waste their time. That's 1 turn of movement, 2 turns of movement back here. So we have this unit. Let's say this unit chases him down for what is it? 1 turn, advance, 2 turns, he's just going to route. Boom, boom. 3 turns, 4 turns, and that's not even firing in prep fire. That's just moving. This unit will rally by the 4th or 5th turn, come back in his spot and do exactly what he was doing before. Unless this unit's eliminated, he's going to do the exactly same thing. And if the Americans don't respect that, they have to, guess what? Defend their property with a full squad. And what happens in the front? They're 1 guy short. Now, if they're kicking their butt, they can afford that. But these guys are no slouches. You know, I'd probably put the demo with the 9-1 so because he's got 9 morale. When he throws it, he's going to take firepower. He's going to take fire shots. You know? So, 16 chart, point blank, run away. You know, you could argue, give the LMGs to the 5.48s. That is an argument. That is an argument. You could give for the point blank fire. That is possible. It depends on how well you do up here. These guys, if 1 or 2 guys break up here, it delays them, you probably don't need to. But it depends on you. These guys are point blank shots anyway. Again, just 2 of these guys right there, it's going to be a 20 chart. But the problem is you're going to have a lot of firepower come back the other way. So once the Americans get in this building, this LMG will only be cutting route pass. It's not going to be having any effect on there other than the possibility of moving off. So long-winded, I understand that. But there are no quick answers in ASL. There are multiple facets. One more thing. One more thing before we go, ladies and germs. We have our guys right here. Another freak setup, okay? We have an 8-0. Anyway, let's just say this is our initial setup, right? Another freak setup you can do I say, Stu, you're absolutely insane. You are absolutely insane. Yeah, I probably am. This opens this up. Actually, it doesn't really open it up. That's still a -2 shot from this unit here. Right? That's still a -2 shot. Okay? It's still covered. Still covered. And the entry hex is still covered from here. Still a -2 shot. With 1 residuals. And guess what? If he makes it over here, who cares? We're not going to take that open ground shot that Kevin was worried about. We don't care. Our units are coming on initially, and they're going to be here. Our units are going to be here. Moving on here, moving in the back, moving in the front. Wherever you want to move them, they're going to make it to these buildings on turn 1. If that's where you want to be. They can make it here on turn 1 if you want, and pound these guys over this way, which may or may not be a bad idea. Depends. It really depends on how they react. And the next thing you do, you move in the back, same thing. Now we have 6 firepower firing down this lane, protecting the. Now we have 6 firepower protecting this building. And when these Americans move forward, and the Germans move back because you can't withstand that much firepower, what are the Americans going to leave behind? They have to leave something behind. Again, route pass cut. Late in the game, we retake the stuff that we lost. You can't ignore these guys up here. That would be very interesting. I would love to see a replay of somebody do that if they survive that shot. But again, both your machine guns up here. The chance you're taking here, what your objective is here. My objective, by putting both of those guys right there, is firing 6 firepower on this spot. Not the 2 and 2. That's stupid. 2 and 2 is dumb. Now you're risking both those guys. 2 here is dumb. Give this freedom to him. It's an 8-0 leader. Actually, the 8-0 leader starts there. I have no clue where the 8-0 leader is. Here he is. So, get out of here. Get out of here. You're not wanted. The 8-0 leader's here. So you're not going to get them free -1 shots. Even if he makes it here, it's going to be 4 plus 0. That's reasonable. We're 8 morale. We should be able to handle that. That's what they pay us the big bucks for. But what we want, that setup is strictly designed to hammer the living daylights out of this. When he fires a 6 firepower, assuming he does not retain multiple rate of fire, we'll then leave a 4 residual on that location, which he then has to enter. Okay? He has to enter on CC7 on turn 1 or after turn 1. So if these guys are not destroyed and they make it to our building, let's say the setup over here for like that, let's just say that's kosher. Let's say they get like that. They're still covering this at 8 hex range. 8 hex range. The same shot, the same residual. So the American is then forced into staring at 2 6-1s, at least 6-1s, and then a 4 residual shot on top of that. What's the 4 residual shot going to give us? I don't know off the top of my head. Many ASLers do. I'm not necessarily one of them. 4 shot. Right here. Oop, that's an erase. We don't care about the erase. Let's go with the red, the pink. 4 minus 1. A 7 will give us a morale check. 4 minus 1. Okay, a 3, the fun 3, just with the -1, will give us the K2. 4 minus 2 will give us the K1. But it also gives us a 9 for a pin task check. Actually, much better. If they're pinned there, they're not moving. Pins is what will lose the Americans the game in this one. So again, that's just a quickie, really obscure one, putting both these guys up here within 8 hex range of the entry hex. Americans get free movement here. This unit here also gets to move up. But you get 6 firepower on that hex. And 4 minus 6 minus 1 or 6 minus 2. And then 4 minus 1 just from the residual. So that's very strong, very risky. Because now you have 2 units that aren't getting off the board, but are in position to retake these buildings here. So that you might consider that as you have 2 units getting 3 victory points back. Versus maybe 4 victory points. Versus just 1 unit moving off the board. That can double their value by putting both of them up here. So 4 different setups. 4 different things you think about. Not simple. And that's why a single setup is wholly dependent upon what you want to do. Do you want to run away? Set them in the back. You want to take chances, very risky chances? Set them up here. Although 6 minus 2, I'm kind of loving it. With 8 morale, I can deal with it. 7 morale units in the open? Probably not. Probably not. 7 morale units, I'd probably put them way in the back. Because these guys are going to demolish you. This is a get the hell out of Dodge and set up fire shots left and right. And then get off the board later in the game. Up here, very aggressive. Americans either deal with you or have to leave somebody behind here at the end game. Straight up. So, sorry if that was long-winded. Enjoy the video. Like or dislike. Anyway, my opinions. You could look at this thing, the scenario, a bazillion different ways. But those are just a couple of my little thoughts there. But you have to take in the full scenario victory conditions and what you have to offer. 8 range is your friend. Lots of 8 ranges that are easily had in this game. Not in most games, but in this game, the machine guns are the key to the game. Period. Thank you.